Hi, my name is Brian. If this is your first year as a new dad, this video is for you. My first year as a father came in 2020, then again in 2022, and once more in 2025. As a new dad early on, I kept the hard questions to myself. Now I'm going back to them, so you don't have to go through this alone. So, why does leaving the house seem like planning a military operation? Leaving the house is hard because it's not because you're unprepared. Um, Leaving the house with a newborn is hard because they force you to slow down, and it's a pace of life that you're just not used to yet. I think as new dads, week 3 is when this reality finally hits. Um, when you're starting to go out of the house more, going on more walks, meeting up more with more friends. It takes a lot longer than 5 minutes, right? Before I had my first child in 2020, I would just have to wait for my wife, you know, and that was only one person. But now, fast forward 5 years later, we have a family of 5. My wife and 3 beautiful children. And yeah, life in the morning is hectic. Even this morning, getting out of the house was a challenge. I usually drop my daughter off at daycare, and the whole process can take 20 minutes, 25 minutes once we get out of the house. She likes to walk herself in. She likes to walk up the stairs. She's quite independent for a 3-year-old. But that's the beauty in it, I suppose, right? That's the beauty in life at a much slower pace of life. And that's just my reality now. And, you're in week 3 now, and maybe that reality hasn't set in, but over time it will. And I remember when I was going through week 3 with my first child, we wanted to meet up. We wanted to meet up with some friends, just to introduce all the kids and all the babies. And from this one day, we had everything ready. It was one of our first outings, so we had extra milk, a full pad of diaper wipes, changing pad, diaper balm, extra clothes for the baby. Both had our waters, right? Like, we were prepared, right? It took us a long time to get ready, and you think you have everything, then you run up the stairs for this, right? Run up the stairs for that, right? That's happened. That's my life now. Usually when you get out the door, there's always 1 or 2 things you're missing, and you gotta run back upstairs. But we had everything ready to go. And the baby would just not stop spitting up. And we didn't make it out of the house. We just looked at each other and like, wow, we just can't do it, right? Like, either the baby's sick or the baby has gas issues that, maybe a car ride isn't the best thing for the baby, and we just ended up staying at home. And even when you're the most prepared, it doesn't matter. And yeah, I'll never forget the face of my son just constantly spitting up and in waves. And then we had to clean up the car seat, and it was wet, so we couldn't go, and that was that, right? But being a dad, it just makes you live life at a much slower pace. A much slower pace than I'm used to. And I think that's the beauty in fatherhood, is that you might not see it now, but sometimes rushing through life isn't the best thing. Sometimes stopping and, I told you that story earlier of me dropping my daughter off at her daycare, and it's slow. I'm watching her take small step after small step, use the railing, and would I love her for her to go a little quicker? Sure, but when am I gonna get this chance again, right? To live this slow, to appreciate not the big moments, but just the small daily moments, right? Of her walking, learning to walk, being independent, and just watching that, right? That is the true gift in fatherhood, and I don't want you to miss out on that. Feel like it's a burden because it's taking so long to get out of the house. Because it just does now, right? When you have kids, realize it's just going to take longer, and you might as well just enjoy the ride, right? Enjoy running up the stairs and grabbing that last thing that you forgot, right? Enjoy taking the child in and out of the stroller. Enjoy shorter outings, right? That's just what it is, and I maybe resented that early on, but 5 years later, my mindset has completely changed. Even now when we go on family vacations, our family loves going on cruises. And before, me and my wife would just, we'd be the first stop, first at the buffet line, first off the ship, first for everything, right? But now when we go, we don't really plan too much. We just, wake up when we wake up. There's no stress in getting the first hash brown, right? The first omelet. We'll get there when we get there. And, we might have to go back to the bathroom because maybe all of us need to use the bathroom. And then, we might have to apply sunscreen. And then someone might need a diaper change. And then someone might get a little cranky. So it is what it is, right? It takes the time it takes. And that's our family trips these days. It's slower, right? But it's a lot more exciting. And that's what I try to remind myself, is that, this, before having kids, I was moving at such a fast pace in life, wanting to get thing after thing done, and wanting to get places on time and maximizing my day. That I think that's the true gift in being a dad, and is that they just make you slow down. You have no choice, and they stop you and make you actually live life, right? Actually live life. Like, look at what is around you at that time, because they'll point it out too, right? They'll point things out that you might have taken for granted. But yeah, they just make life so much more beautiful. And so, I want to leave you with this. I want to leave you with, you might never ever get out of the house, just like I never got out of the house that first time, where my baby was just spitting up and we couldn't leave. But I'll always remember that day. And I'll always cherish that memory. And I'll always be grateful for what it taught me that day, is that stop trying to control everything. Just experience it all. The good, the bad, the slow, the fast. Everything, right? Stop being so firm on everything. Live a little. You don't have to see it all. yeah, man, fatherhood is just so special, right? And you're only in week 3, and you know, there's gonna come a day where you don't have to worry about any of that anymore, and just you and your wife or your partner, and it'll feel off, right? They feel like you're missing something. It'll feel too easy, and yeah, one day you're gonna miss it, right? So enjoy that slow pace of life before it's all over. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next episode of week 3, the final episode.